Picture this. It's 1953, and somewhere in a sterile government facility, a man in a crisp white coat carefully measures a clear liquid into a coffee cup. The recipient, a volunteer who thinks he's helping his country, takes a sip and settles back into his chair, completely unaware that his reality is about to dissolve like sugar in rain. This isn't science fiction. This is Project MKUltra, and it happened in the shadow of the American dream. The Cold War had turned the world into a chessboard where minds were the ultimate prize. While families gathered around television sets watching I Love Lucy and dreaming of suburban bliss, the Central Intelligence Agency was orchestrating something far more sinister in basement laboratories and psychiatric hospitals across North America. They called it mind control research. History would call it one of the most disturbing chapters in American intelligence operations. It began with a simple, terrifying question: what if we could control human behavior the way we control a radio dial? The CIA, spooked by reports of Soviet and Chinese brainwashing techniques, decided they needed their own arsenal of psychological weapons. Enter Sidney Gottlieb, a brilliant chemist with a clubfoot and a stutter, who would become the architect of America's journey into the darkest corners of human consciousness. Gottlieb wasn't your typical mad scientist. He was a folk dancer who grew Christmas trees on his Virginia farm, a man who could discuss organic gardening one moment and authorize experiments that would shatter minds the next. The program's appetite was voracious. Universities, hospitals, prisons, anywhere there were vulnerable people, MKUltra found a way in. Researchers promised breakthrough treatments for mental illness while secretly testing everything from LSD to electroshock therapy, from sensory deprivation to psychological torture. The subjects weren't just volunteers. Many were patients seeking help, prisoners with no choice, or ordinary citizens who never consented to becoming human guinea pigs. Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron's work at Montreal's Allen Memorial Institute reads like a horror novel written by bureaucrats. Patients arrived seeking treatment for anxiety or depression and found themselves subjected to psychic driving, a technique that involved playing recorded messages for weeks while patients were kept in drug-induced comas. Cameron believed he could erase problematic memories and rebuild personalities from scratch, like reformatting a computer. His patients emerged as empty shells, unable to recognize their own children, their memories scattered like leaves in autumn wind. The drug experiments were perhaps the most notorious aspect of MKUltra. LSD became the agency's favorite tool, administered to subjects who had no idea what was happening to them. Imagine being a mental patient in the 1950s, already struggling with reality, only to have that reality chemically shattered by people claiming to help you. Some subjects were given LSD daily for months. Others received doses so massive that permanent psychological damage was inevitable. The CIA documented these experiments with the cold precision of accountants, noting dosages and reactions as if human suffering were just another data point. But MKUltra wasn't content with just chemicals. The program explored every conceivable method of breaking the human psyche. Sensory deprivation chambers where subjects floated in darkness for days. Sleep deprivation that stretched consciousness to its breaking point. Sexual humiliation designed to shatter dignity. Isolation so complete that grown adults would beg for any human contact, even from their tormentors. The researchers took detailed notes, always searching for that perfect combination of techniques that would create the ultimate truth serum or the perfect assassin. The irony is delicious in its darkness. While America fought the Cold War in the name of freedom and human dignity, its own intelligence agency was pioneering techniques that would make KGB operatives proud. The very values America claimed to defend were being systematically violated in basement laboratories funded by taxpayer dollars. Democracy was conducting experiments that would have made totalitarian regimes envious. For 20 years, MKUltra operated in the shadows, protected by classification levels and institutional denial. Researchers published papers on their findings without mentioning the human cost. Subjects who tried to speak out were dismissed as mentally ill, a convenient circular logic that protected the program's secrets. Families watched loved ones deteriorate and received only vague explanations about experimental treatments. The program finally began to unravel in the 1970s. When congressional investigations and whistleblowers started asking uncomfortable questions. By then, thousands of people had been subjected to MKUltra experiments, their lives forever altered by techniques designed to unlock the secrets of human consciousness. Many subjects never recovered. Some took their own lives. Others spent decades trying to piece together memories that had been systematically destroyed. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of MKUltra isn't what it accomplished. The program was largely a failure in terms of its stated goals, but what it revealed about institutional power and the willingness to sacrifice human dignity for perceived national security. The men and women who authorized and conducted these experiments weren't monsters in the traditional sense. They were patriots, scientists, and bureaucrats who convinced themselves that the ends justified any means necessary. When congressional hearings finally exposed MKUltra in the 1970s, most of the program's records had been destroyed on orders from CIA Director Richard Helms. The full scope of the experiments may never be known. What remains are fragments, testimonies from survivors, scattered documents that escaped destruction, and the haunting knowledge that somewhere in America's past, the line between healer and torturer disappeared entirely. The legacy of MKUltra serves as a reminder that the most dangerous experiments aren't always conducted by obvious villains. but by ordinary people who lose sight of basic human dignity in pursuit of abstract goals. In the end, Project MKUltra didn't create super soldiers or perfect spies. It created suffering, and in doing so, revealed something troubling about the capacity for cruelty that exists within even democratic institutions.